Hi everyone. In this difficult time of COVID-19, I hope and pray you are all well and stay healthy. Today's the text is Genesis chapter 37 verse 17 to 24. When you think of the covenantal relationship of Abraham and the Lord in Genesis chapter 15, it would be exciting to search on whether Joseph, Jacob loved the most, lived a blissful life or not. Joseph got affluent and abundant love from Jacob, as we might observe the fact all the time he wore colorful garments, unlike the ones his brothers took. As described in the text, he used to boast of his long coat made of quite smooth fur of animals, presumably. Also, he would show off two dreams in front of his brothers. As times went by, the relationship between the brothers and Joseph was getting worse and worse. We could get his clue through the fact that his brothers did not take Joseph on the way to Shechem for pasturing their father's Jacob's flocks. Probably even when the brothers had to care for lots of sheep, Joseph could spend much time doing some personal activities, such as playing music instrument or drawing the beautiful scenery around the tent of household, referring to the fertile soil of the land of Canaan. So it would be enough possible for them to have a feeling of discrimination from unfair love of Jacob. Just draw the scene in your imagination that the brothers would have hated Joseph, complaining towards Jacob to express all the interest and love for his youngest son on the way to Shechem. Their curse and swear words seem to be echoed up to here, right? Despite the tensioned relationship between Joseph and his brothers, surely Jacob was never likely to notice its seriousness when we find out that Jacob let Joseph alone live for his brothers. The Message Bible of Eugene Peters describes the scene like this. He said, "Go and see how your brothers and the flocks are doing, and bring me back a report." He sent him off from the valley of Hebron to Shechem. Definitely, Jacob must have overconfidence towards his older sons, or he might not understand their broken emotional scar caused by his improper treatment for them. However, they may have extreme hatred for his youngest brother. Anyway, they were carrying out their roles sincerely and diligently, feeding the flock on the grass, in thinking of long distance of around 100 kilometers from Hebron to Dothan. In that sense, rather than Joseph who got a great love and care, we need to focus on the older brothers who would have had very low self-esteem for a considerably long time, at least 17 years. Wow, it was almost 20 years. I don't think anyone can be exceptional from a sense of alienation or discrimination made over the decade. A few months ago, there was uncomfortable news about the support of masks in Japan in relation to the outbreak of coronavirus. It happened in a private school connected to the North Korea within Japan. despite the fact that all the students within the school have to be treated equally and be provided with the same quality of a mask beyond race, sexuality, age, or region, but sorrowfully they had to be dealt differently by being given with masks of poor quality. Can you feel their sense of loss out of unequal in front of the widespread of the deadly COVID-19? After the unprecedented happening of the virus in China, as well as America or Italy, especially a minority of poor people could not be hospitalized in the face of extreme pain of high fever and continuing cough because the deadly virus was infected everywhere. So they had to wait for the moment of death at their home. What a desperate and unbelievably sad reality it was. But there is only one person to get over such discrimination, unfairness, impropriety, in spite of the tragic moment in which humans can face. He lived a faithful life for the weak, poor, vulnerable, broken, and exploited until the last moment of his breath. Even at his personal eschatological moment on the spot of death, he willingly saved the life of a cruel burglar who longed for becoming a child of God. He was Jesus Christ, the only Son of God. For 3 years of his public life in this world, he completely devoted himself to becoming a friend of the sick, sinful, neglected, or marginalized. He bravely broke all the lawful things, such as communicating with the alien Samaritan woman or visiting the house of a tax collector like a vampire, and so forth. He became a bright light like the flaming sun and a lively reformer as never polluted sword. Back to the text, very sadly, the brothers did not seem to realize the will or holy plan of God through the very special 2 dreams of Joseph. As a result of fury and jealousy for the unlikely dreams of Joseph, they began to be obsessed with evil thought. It was to kill Joseph perfectly, manipulating that he was killed by a fierce animal. How nonsense! The secret and horrible attack was done by 11 brothers against Joseph. For them, the evil spirit became full of their mental aspect. Their thought or mind was being controlled by the spirit of force and destruction. When the brothers saw Joseph coming to them, instantly they became one body in a very terrible way. It was happening all of a sudden. It was almost like the horrible scene that Cain removed his only brother Abel in Genesis chapter 4. How could it happen? Only by any emotional burst within the family community. I strongly confirm that at the moment the evil Satan was controlling all their psyche, mind, or evil decision. Do you think so? But even in the most desperate moment, the Lord prepared for a way to survive Joseph from the end of life. What happened to him? What happened to him? God picked up Reuben to accomplish the quite significant dreams of Joseph. Bible says, Reuben heard the brothers talking and intervened to save him. We are not going to kill him, "No, mother, go ahead and throw him in this cistern here in the wild, but don't hurt him." Reuben planned to go back later and get him out and take him back to his father. Wow, how faithful and almighty our Lord was. In front of the extreme crisis, the Lord transformed the heart of Reuben by allowing him to have a pity for his younger brother Joseph. Reuben managed to persuade his rest brothers not to kill Joseph. Presumably, Reuben must have spent much time with Joseph, and it seemed to be quite timely for Joseph to be saved out of the hand of violation and curse of the rest brothers, because he had a high probability to be raised with Reuben under Leah's hand. I think all the process for saving Joseph were under God's perfect plan. What's more surprising thing was that there was no water in the cistern of Total. How amazing! The cistern was dry. If it was filled with water, how could he survive? In spite of the desperate situation, he was alive in the cold pit. It could be said into eschatological hope, isn't it? That is, even if everything looks like zero possibility, humans can have a real hope when God is with us as Emmanuel. Emmanuel. In the covenantal perspective of the Lord, God had to protect and keep Joseph out of all the threats. In other words, the faithful Lord strived to keep his promise through the dreams which he presented to Joseph. Likewise, in front of today's coronavirus, I am sure our faithful Lord would make a way to be able to get over those threats of virus, allowing God's children to have fascinating wisdom coming from the fear of the Lord. As Ephesians proclaimed, God called us as children of salvation, with us being predestined to make his people even before the Lord created this universe. Moreover, God has loved his world and waited for the time when all people on earth would be saved. Accordingly, I invite you to this unchangeable word of the faith and hope in the special plan and covenant under his sovereignty. As if the Lord led Joseph into the way of life as the descendant of the covenant under his sovereignty. Thank you.